I'm not going to play the other one because I just started the show. So, well,
I didn't hear it.
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
And a good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode number 162. We are broadcasting live from Beach Timeout. This is Beach Talk Radio, the defenders of the First Amendment. Video of the show is always available on the Facebook and the YouTube. We're also on the Twitter and the Instagram. And our news website is beachtalkradionews.com, where you can sign up for our free twice-a-week newsletter. Download our news app. We have all the fancy schmancy stuff so you can receive our breaking news when it happens. All the beach news delivered right to your phone as a, what do you call it? Like a notification. That's what you call it, dear. Thank you for your help. It's available on the iPhone and the Android. Of course, we want to thank all of our superb sponsors for sticking with us, for being the defenders of the First Amendment. And that includes Island Oils, Fort Myers Tiki Tours, Nervous Nellies, Mangaritas, State Insurance USA, Sun Palace Vacations, La Ola Restaurant, Tuckaway Cafe, Blue Ribbon Events, Beach Pottery, Sunset Beach Tropical Grill, and Shuckers. And speaking of Shuckers, Brian from Shuckers will be here to tell us about an event that's going on at the Shuckers in the month of May, which, if you're need to know, it's following April, the month of May. That's coming up soon. So thank you. And my trusty sidekick is here once again, everybody. Her name is Kim, and she puts the K in kickball. So go right ahead, Kim, and say hello to everybody. I just made that up. Just
You're really wound up today.
Thank you. Yes, we have so much to talk about.
You are
After Brian comes on, we're going to talk and get everybody up to date on what's going on down here, why we're inside, why we're not outside, what's going on with the town, all the stuff that we're trying to do, and blah 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 blah. But that's coming up afterwards. So right now we want to.
Are you going to play that clip?
I'm going to play the clips. We have some clips that we're going to play to tell you about why we're here or what's going on. There seems to be some stories going on and some things happening with the homeless, not only here on Fort Myers Beach. If you read the newsletter on Friday, you saw what happened to Susie, who happens to be on the Public Safety Committee and lives in the downtown area of Fort Myers Beach, and she was stalked by a homeless person who luckily wasn't trying to hurt her, was trying to get weed or rolling papers, which was all he was looking for apparently at the time. But she was prepared.
I'm sure it's still, it's still frightening to have someone approach you, especially at night. And yeah.
And she had mace in one hand and she was holding her dog in the other hand. And so there was that story, but there was also some doings on at the county meeting during the week, because in Lee County, if you guys drive around, if anyone leaves the beach, and why would you, but if you do leave the beach, you see in the medians, there just seemed to be an uptick in homeless people. And I don't even know if that's the right phrase. I don't know. You're going to get kicked off of Facebook these days if you use the word homeless. They look like they were without a home. So they were in the medians and they're collecting money. So that came up at the county meeting, and they passed an ordinance where nobody's allowed to be in the median anymore. And that includes the fire department, anybody that's trying to raise money. So we're going to talk about that.
And we've talked about that before, that it does seem unsafe, to be out there. And especially, back in the day, kids, and I mean, whatever they were raising money for, I was like, gee, this just seems really unsafe.
Now, Janet Bartos is with the Lee County Homeless Coalition. And Janet, don't let us monopolize the time. Now,
She is the executive director of the
right.
Lee County Homeless Coalition.
Not part of the Lee County government, just to be clear, but she is very helpful to Lee County. So
good morning, everyone.
Thank
you. Good morning.
And I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And I can tell this is going to be a fun 30 minutes
right.
because this couple are really cute. The bantering before we got on the air was great as well.
So cute. Okay. That's a word that's
never been used.
Not with me anyway.
Not with him.
With Kim.
Yes, for sure.
You.
So one of the things that we talked about before was when out in Gateway, where there's tree line and Gateway Boulevard, we have some really busy intersections with small medians, and we see them trying. It's almost like walking a balance beam sometimes, and some of these people are
it's
not
very dangerous. Yes. Yeah. The Homeless Coalition, we have never encouraged people to give to those that are panhandling in the streets.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's very dangerous.
Well, I had that. I was coming up Daniels, and I could see ahead of me there was a homeless or appeared to be homeless gentleman, and he had an issue going on with his leg, and he went to go get something, and he fell. And some guy had a convertible, was trying to give him money, and the guy is down trying to get up, and the person in the car just starts throwing money from his car,
That's
which
crazy.
then encouraged the guy into the road. And I'm like,
right.
This is not good.
Yes.
So there was that incident, and then every time I get stopped at a light at that intersection, I just give them the water. I usually have some kind of water in the car, and it gets hot out there.
Well, you've got to remember that not everyone that's panhandling is homeless.
Well, can they wear a sign that says, I am homeless, I'm not homeless, I'm trying to make a living? Because I think that would make it a lot easier.
I worked on a story with NBC2, I think it was, and they went out and talked to a lot of the folks that were panhandling. And one person told them he could make up to $400 a day. So if you do the math, that's $104,000 a year. You're working 5 days a week. Yes.
Tax free.
Yes.
Wow.
Now that's the highest I've heard. And I know sometimes people just go out for a few hours and panhandle.
What intersection is he working?
Yeah, right. We all need to go out there.
So
we can't do that anymore.
The second incident that we not really an incident, but there was a guy that looked like he was on crutches and his leg was bent in a way that legs should not go.
I've heard about him.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
We actually got a wheelchair delivered to him. He's been approached by the outreach workers. He's been offered to come into housing. And, sometimes you can provide people with the opportunity, but you can't make them take it.
And I think that's the catch right there is we'll get to that before.
Well, let's, why don't you give us an overview?
Not yet. You're not following the script from last night.
Lord.
So let's get back. We'll get out of the intersection part, but the county passed an ordinance that has to do with nobody's allowed to, I don't know the exact name of the ordinance, but nobody's allowed to stand in the medians anymore. The sheriff was there, and the sheriff said they're going to try and educate people first. They're not going to throw people in jail because a lot of the homeless advocates thought it was targeting the panhandlers and it was targeting the folks that are homeless, and they don't want that to happen. So the county attorney, this is what he said at the county meeting the other day to defend from the targeting that some of the homeless advocates thought was going on. So listen to this.
I find it somewhat disingenuous to have somebody come to the podium and allege that this is anything else but what it is, which is a right-of-way safety ordinance. And should it be challenged, we stand ready to defend it. It was drafted in such a manner so that a reviewing court would find it as a valid time, place, manner restriction and not an abridgment to free speech.
Now, folks, remember time, place, manner for the end of the show. It's very important. The time, place, manner thing is going to be very important. But there have been other communities that have challenged communities that were trying to get rid of people standing in the medians, get rid of those people. It has been challenged, and it kind of is a First Amendment thing.
Well, this is a public safety ordinance.
Right.
And it does not specify panhandling.
Right.
It's to keep all of the public safe. And Lee County roadways were rated as the 11th most dangerous in the country, in the whole country.
That's crazy.
So that is crazy. So our leaders needed to do something. This is just a first step, but something, our roadways are very dangerous. And to have somebody in the median asking for money and, if it is somebody homeless that just one wrong step and they're going to fall into the roadway. And we've even talked to, saw a news reel where one of the homeless folks were interviewed and he said he's been hit 3 times.
Yeah. Right. So we've talked about the median thing even before the homeless thing came out, and I love the fire department, and this is something that every time I see it happening, I think to myself, why do they have to do that? The fire departments get out there and they put their boots out, and to me, it feels like begging. It's like you can't come up with a more creative way to raise money than begging for money. And I felt it's the wrong thing to do. You can't do a car wash or a bake sale or something else where you have to stand. Now, I don't think they're in much danger, but they're still in danger. Somebody could be looking at their phone and go off on the side.
Somebody called them over to their car and they happen not to look the other way.
Well, too, the other drivers, if the light turns green, you're anticipating people going and people are waiting to give
you're not
money.
Paying attention.
It's just tough. It's tough.
Right. So nowadays, I guess, they're not saying you have to quit panhandling, but it just cannot be on our dangerous roadways. So I guess it would be in shopping plazas, in Walmart.
Is it all the roadways or is it just the medians? Like if they came out of the medians and stood on the sidewalk, are they allowed to do that?
I'm not 100% sure. I think maybe, but they can't engage with cars on the
Gotcha.
roadway.
Okay, well that would eliminate that.
Yeah. Of sitting there anyways.
So let's talk about what your organization.
Now we can get.
Go ahead, dear. You want to take over the show? Go right ahead.
Tell people what the coalition is, when it got started, and what they do.
Okay, so we were established to plan, network, coordinate, and monitor the delivery of services to people that are homeless.
Okay.
So it's kind of a planning body. The Homeless Coalition does not provide any direct services. Our members do. They provide things like prevention and diversion and outreach and shelter and permanent housing, that type of thing. We represent what's known as the homeless continuum of care.
Yeah.
There's 27 continuum of cares in the state of Florida. So we're just in Lee County.
And how long, when did it start?
Oh, that started before my time. I began in 2007, and I
Wow.
actually worked with Lee County government at that time. The government, Lee County Human and Veteran Services, it's what's known as the lead agency. So at the time, it was thought that maybe my position should spin off to a nonprofit so we could fundraise and do other things. And then if there was an ordinance passed that, we needed to advocate against, that we wouldn't be actually working for the government. It would be hard to advocate then. So in 2009, the Homeless Coalition did spin off to become a nonprofit.
And when you talk about the continuum of care, can you give us an example of what that might be?
So that is everyone in Lee County who is interested in helping people that are homeless. So we have a large group of stakeholders. Coalition members are folks like, the Salvation Army, Community Cooperative, All Souls Church, Goodwill,
The United Way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There's just anybody that's interested in helping people that are homeless.
And there's also people could join as individuals and
Yes.
like you have different membership levels, correct?
Right. And we encourage everyone to join, and those are our paid members. I want to say we have like maybe 70 paid members. One of the things that the Homeless Coalition is in charge of is holding meetings at least monthly, but we also have task force meetings. So we would like anybody can join into our meetings. You don't have to be a paid member. Right now they're on Zoom, which to me is just not quite as effective. We used to have a great networking meeting. There were always at least 50 people at the meeting. So the idea is to bring everybody together so all the different agencies know what each other are doing. So you don't duplicate services, or, if I'm providing one service and Ed's providing something else, you would know who to send your client to, either to me or to Ed.
She would rather us do the show on Zoom so she didn't have to sit next to me.
Oh,
She's
stop.
just got, it's like I got the cooties or something.
You
She
guys are
doesn't
too
wanna-
funny.
Thank you very much. So you're retiring.
I am
Yes.
retiring. August 31st is my last day.
Wow. Are you getting an RV and you're going to travel the country, or what's your retirement plan?
No, we actually got a vacation home in North Carolina.
What part?
That's very
In
popular.
Franklin.
Franklin.
Oh,
yes.
the good part.
We used to take
Love
our
Franklin.
kids to North Carolina. We have 4 children. So every summer we would do a trip. We couldn't afford to fly anywhere. So that was a day's drive and different scenery. So we'd take everybody to North Carolina for a week. So this is like what we're doing to kind of leave
Nice.
to our children when we're gone too.
So I didn't mean to sidetrack you there. I don't do that a lot.
Yeah, now I'm just thinking about my retirement,
I know.
right?
So I count down the days, like
I have one of those apps on my phone that tells you like 4 months, 5
we know someone who's
hours,
got that.
36 minutes.
she does that about my death. So
Stop. Now
no,
that's too mean.
Janet, let's talk about Lee County, because Lee County, I feel like Lee County, that Board of Commissioners and the staff, they do so much to try and help the homeless. The tent things that were set up got a lot of publicity. I know it was Fort Myers. Fort Myers is trying to do some things too, the city. But Lee County seems like every single meeting that Lee County has, you have the same group of folks that are either homeless or that are homeless advocates. And it just seems like to me, and I know the county representatives could never say this, but it just seems like to me, those people just want to bitch. They just want to complain. It's like they're doing everything they can to try and get you to the Salvation Army or some of the other organizations, but they're not full. They're not overflowing. To me, if they're putting together all of those different locations to try and help the homeless and they're not full, then there shouldn't be any on the street. Like, you shouldn't be able to complain. You should either go get those people off the street and bring them to the locations.
Right. So the Lee County is doing an awesome job. They're really, since the pandemic, not only has it been a health crisis, but it's an economic crisis. And a lot of people are facing eviction. And so there's also lots of money coming into our communities. Where we're like rich in funding, but maybe low in capacity of like affordable housing. So we've got a ton of money coming in for rapid rehousing programs, but we don't have, in my opinion, enough landlords. So I wanted to make a plea for some landlords today too. While
want
I'm
me to help
here.
you?
Where is here it is, my phone number. So Lee County, we're seeking landlords who will work with these rapid rehousing agencies. Because the available housing stock is low. So there's a number of advantages to being a landlord for these rapid rehousing programs. You get guaranteed rent payment, full year rental terms, and a case manager to help mitigate any tenant issues. So there is a number for potential landlords to call if you're interested. That number is 239-533-7981. You can always call me if you need that number again. What we're finding with, we've got a lot of landlords, but it's the background checks that are becoming barriers.
For the background checks of
the
folks who want to rent.
folks who want to rent.
Why?
The
Because
homeless.
there's no way to find out if they have a social.
No, but there's usually a lot of evictions. Even one eviction is going to make it hard for you to rent. But there's also a lot of criminal background on there. So sometimes there's folks with a lot of felonies. So people
Janet,
don't want to give them
Janet,
another chance.
you're the expert, right? Here's the big question. In Lee County anyway, because Fort Myers Beach is a whole different thing. And I wanted to ask you some questions about that in a minute. But in Lee County, you have these different locations that they're even, I think they're even putting people in hotels. Like,
yes,
that's
and
pretty nice.
That's just for people in Lions Park. Lions Park, our outreach workers had been out there for months offering services, and people were not accepting the services. I went out there one time. It was in January when we were going to have like 3 days of cold weather. It was going to be in the 40s. So we went out on a Monday morning, like 7:30 in the morning, and to let everybody know that it was going to get really cold. It was going to be like on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're going to be in the low 40s. And at that time, there was plenty of room in the shelter. And so we were encouraging everybody to come into the shelter. We engaged with 21 different individuals, and only 7 accepted the offer to come into shelter.
What happened to this team of the sheriff made a big deal out of these teams they were putting together?
Hot teams.
Hot teams. What happened to that?
Yes. No, the hot teams are still out
I
there.
have never seen one on Fort Myers Beach.
Well, maybe we need to work on that.
I asked the county if they were going to send one down here. Maybe they had, but you would think they would want publicity from that. Not that anyone cares
For
what we
those
think.
that don't know, can you explain what that is?
That's the Housing Outreach and Treatment Team. So it's made up of law enforcement and a behavioral health professional. So, and because, law enforcement, they're first responders. So if they come across someone who's homeless and there's, behavioral health issues, Centerstone is the provider for that. So they can immediately call Centerstone. Somebody will come out, and together they'll work on getting that person into shelter. And also the hot team law enforcement officers, when they're working as part of the hot team, they don't wear their uniform. They have a special designated shirt.
More friendly kind of a thing.
Right.
So,
and the homeless have really begun to trust them.
Good.
Yes. And
That's
they start
nice.
opening up to them. And, so it's become a better relationship there.
Let me just ask you this. When you went out and only 7 out of the 21 accepted, did you get any information about why the others didn't? Why is there a reluctance to get out of the freezing cold weather?
Yes. Well, one person told me that he's getting such good food delivered at Lions Park, and he had been
Delivered
in the
by
shelter.
who? Like
we
Uber
have-
Eats or what?
No, we have a very generous community, which is a good thing. So people were hearing about all the poor folks at Lions Park. So you could go out to Lions Park for 2 hours and you'd see 4 or 5 different just groups, community groups coming out there.
Trying to do the right thing.
Wonderful
but then this is
potluck
the-
meals. Yeah. So the one gentleman said to me, geez, he had been at the shelter and they served him corned beef 2 nights in a row. So
nice.
and peanut butter and
I don't
jelly
even get corned
sandwiches.
beef at home from her.
So he was saying
Not
that
she
the
cooks.
food at the shelter is not
Yes,
as desirable as. Okay.
So Janet, a couple questions.
Can she just finish? Was there
Oh.
any other issues that were brought up?
And
There's so much information we want to get from you. Come on now, speed it up.
Okay, so there's some of the other issues, and you can't blame people for this. Like if you guys were homeless and you were going to the Bob James Triage Center, Ed would be on the men's section and you'd be on the female section.
That's the way she likes it.
And let's think about it. Being in a shelter is pretty scary. It's kind of traumatizing. You're sleeping in a cot next to somebody you don't know. So lots of folks just don't want to do that. They want to stick with their spouses. And I totally understand
Sounds
that.
like the southern border. That was a Byron Ron.
I get it.
okay.
Go ahead.
So
Did you have
Janet,
a question?
yes,
in there?
I do have a question. Thank
A
you for
serious
giving
one?
me. Yes.
All right.
So Janet, how many homeless people are in Lee County?
Oh, that's the question, right? So
Estimates.
we do a count in January. That's one of the things the Homeless Coalition is responsible for. It's called a point in time count. So you look at one night, and it's always the end of January. We conducted it this year. Do not have the results in yet. They should be coming in like any day now. The 2020 count, in the 24-hour period, the one day, we were able to count 444 people.
Okay.
So now that everyone knows that it's a hidden population and that the counts they're undercounts.
So what's your guess? What's your guess?
Well,
Nobody pays attention to our show anyway. So what's your guess?
They look at, we have a homeless management information system, HMIS. So it captures the data throughout the year. And looking at that throughout the year, people that came for homeless services was 2,700 people.
Wow, 27.
Throughout the year. And that was before the pandemic.
27 different individual peoples at some point in their life in that year.
It
were
might have only
homeless.
been for a couple days, because people become homeless for a variety of
For sure,
reasons.
yeah.
And for most, it's only temporary.
Like, this might sound like a silly question, but can you tag them? So you know that, I'm kidding. Maybe give them a free phone. So we know for sure. I'm joking.
Can you
but
tag them? They are.
I don't mean
they
tag them like
are
a
in
deer.
the system.
Maybe I
Yes,
did mean that.
They are.
They
in
are.
The
How are they
system.
in the system?
Well, it's this homeless management information system.
Gotcha. So do you know the percentage of people that advance from being homeless to get lifted up?
Getting housing. Absolutely, we know that. And I have some information on that
let me
too.
hold this.
Yeah. Here, help her out here.
Let me hold
Come on.
this.
It's like your first
got
day on
it.
the show.
Got it?
Help her.
I got it.
The
The wind's blowing here.
It's the fan.
So we did, let's see, December 1st, we started 100 by 100 campaign. So it was a housing surge to try to house 100 individuals in 100 days. So, and as it ended up, we housed a total of 124 households. And that represented 200 individuals and 61 children. That's got to make you feel good. 61 children were housed.
What
Well,
I don't
think
really get is why there are any children that are homeless. I mean, there has to be some kind of rule or law. Like, you can't be out. This is against the law. You can't be out there with kids.
Well,
That's
No.
people
it should
lose
be.
their job, and then what do you want? And then they're in their car.
Yes.
And
But there's
I mean,
enough.
I think
but
that's
there's
the thing. When you talk about homeless, it's not. It's a variety of people
I
from a
agree.
variety of backgrounds for a
But-
variety
Correct.
of
but
reasons.
somebody that has a kid should not be allowed to refuse help. You have to go.
Well, and they don't necessarily refuse help. There's only so many family shelter beds available.
Okay. All right. Well, I get it then.
And the county is they're going to be doing something with hotel rooms with families as well coming up. There was also the Lions Park issue. There's all these different campaigns and collaboratives and stuff. And this was called the Rapid Transition Collaborate. And let's see, they got 80 identified permanent housing units for this. And households, there was 41 households searching for permanent housing. 33 people were admitted into the emergency shelter. Once they said they were closing the park, that's when people left.
Got it.
So 33 individuals went into shelter. 51 were enrolled in Salvation's Army rapid rehousing programs. 61 households were placed in hotels.
Janet, what is the percentage of whatever the number is that are seriously have mental health issues? What do you think that percentage is?
And I should have brought my numbers. I do have those. We look at that each year. There's a lot of contributing factors to why people are homeless. The number one reason people are homeless is lack of affordable housing.
Yeah.
And that's not only in Lee County, that's throughout the country. But there's contributing factors. We all know mental illness and substance abuse.
But do you think that's the majority of it or not?
No.
What's the majority of it? They can't afford a house?
Lack of affordable housing. But those aren't the folks you see that much, the families and stuff. You know, those are pretty easy to house and to accept help.
Okay.
It's people that have mental illness or addiction issues that people that remain homeless for long periods of times tend to have a chronic problem, whether it's physical or mental, and they use up more resources and are much more expensive to the community.
What do you think the percentage of that number is? Just lazy sons of bitches, like they don't want to help themselves.
I don't want to call them that. Well,
Sorry.
The problem
there are
is
some people out there that are giving the homeless a bad name. They're just but
a lot of them have mental illnesses.
I don't mean that,
and they're
group.
untreated.
I don't mean that group.
And so we don't give up on them. They maybe keep saying no, and they're very difficult to house, and they take up the outreach workers and case managers. They have to take a lot of time with these certain individuals if you have them on your caseload. But we keep going out there and offering help. And eventually you establish a rapport with them and they do come get help. We just don't until you walk in someone's shoes.
Here's the
right?
thing. When I drive by the median, I see somebody and I just feel awful. And you want to help somebody, but you don't want to give them money because you don't know if that's the person that actually needs the money or that's the person that's going to go get the beer at the 7-Eleven. But it's just like, how do you, what's the solution to the problem?
That's why you join a group like this or you donate to those agencies that are providing support.
Kim.
Exactly. Was that a good
Yes,
statement?
that was a good statement. All right.
Yeah, she gets the bell.
Can I just ask, can you talk a little bit about the Green Book?
It's the Lee County Pocket Guide to Emergency Services. And this is something the coalition does. We try to update it 2 times a year. We probably don't have all the services that I'm aware of.
So this is all the services in Lee County, and it goes, there's 74 pages.
Here, I'm telling you,
Lee
County is amazing. You watch what they're trying to do, and they're trying, it's 5 guys sitting up there, and they're trying to, it's a lot of testosterone on that dais there, but they're trying to help, and they have a great. The manager seems like he's trying to help, but unfortunately, I don't even know if unfortunately is the right word. You've got the same 4 or 5 people that come up and they use the public comment and they're yelling at them like they're not doing anything. And I'm surprised Kevin Ruane has been able to, hold his temper. Like, let's speaking to Kevin Ruane. I'm going to play this cut for everybody.
I walked in your shoes. We certainly had an incident where our homes were closed on. I was on welfare. I was on food stamps. I was on cheese lines. I walked in your shoes. I understand it. But I'm also trying to recognize what this county has done to feed people. When I go over to a center like the Salvation Army, where we have the capacity to give maybe 175 meals, we're only doing 100. I'm questioning why. Many times I've offered people that are on the sidewalk food, not money, food. More times than not, it's denied. So again, I appreciate your concerns. I appreciate the issues. But this isn't putting anyone in jail. This is trying to protect people so I don't have someone being hit. Also look at the Bob James Triage Center. Someone gave me a hand up, gave me an opportunity to reestablish myself. And that's what the Bob James Triage Center and many organizations. I came from Sanibel. We had situations just like that. We have community housing there. So we are trying to help people as much as possible. But the first thing we will always do is make sure we put safety first. And this is a safety. This affects all people. People forget the fact that, there are many organizations, firemen, policemen that are on that right away as well. So we're not labeling one particular group. Everybody gets affected by this. So I just want to make those comments on the record. So when you say We haven't walked. I've walked in your shoes, ma'am. I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like. It's not something I certainly have. People that know me personally know my story. So I have empathy and sympathy, but I'm also going to protect my citizens here.
And Brian Hammond also said something. Some man came up and was bitching about something or complaining about something, and Brian nicely said, "I've tried to help him. He looked at Kevin and he said, "I've tried to help him." And it's unfair sometimes to those guys, the county board, when you constantly see these people coming up, and it's like they're. Look at what's going on. All these when he said he goes to these facilities and they're not full, I'm thinking you people shouldn't be allowed to speak.
Right. There are more programs now available than I've ever seen. So this is the best opportunity for someone who has been homeless for a long time to get housing. Now, I will say the shelters do get full at times. Like yesterday, I understood that it was full. So, but then today, 7 people might have left. So
if someone is homeless, can they call the Homeless Coalition and get help kind of navigating?
Yes,
there's a lot available, but it's also hard for someone to navigate all those
absolutely. So what we've started is a coordinated entry. So there is one door to really enter the homeless system, and so if someone needs shelter or interested in a housing program, there's coordinated entry. It's run by Lee County Government, Human and Veteran Services, because they are the co-lead agency. And that number is 239-533-7996. It is in that book. It's in the very front of the book.
We'll make sure we post all the numbers on our
and what that does is they prioritize who is most vulnerable.
So Janet, I want to get back to something you said earlier about when you go to one of these shelters, it's not, you're separated from, it's not like going to the Hilton. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think people that are we're trying to help get their, a hand up should be able to go to some place where they're, they're getting a bubble bath. So the percentage of people that come, we're trying to help you now. You hear, I'm saying we, but the county, we're trying to help you now. How can we help you get a job? How can we help you? What do you need? But you can't go back on the street now. I mean, I know you can because it's free. It's a free country, but you shouldn't go back on the street now. You should find a job.
So they try to work a case plan with them. And there's all these wraparound services, there's employment services, and you have to have an assessment done. So, if you need medication for a mental illness, or if you need to go into a substance abuse treatment program
or disability.
Yes. Stuff. There's SOAR workers that help apply for disability benefits for people. The idea, HUD provides us with all this funding, but HUD also wants to see system performances. So the agencies that receive this funding have to show there's like 7 system performances, and one of them is increased income. So the folks that they are working with, they have to show that they helped them get a job, or else if they can't work, they help them apply for disability and they receive that.
I want to let our affiliates know that we're running a little late today. Okay. So all of our affiliates down the line, we don't have any affiliates. That's a radio thing you like to say if you're a big star. So Janet, let's talk about Fort Myers Beach a little bit, because if there's ever a place to be homeless, it's Fort Myers Beach. You get to lay in the sand. The county has a nice shower right here that the homeless use in the morning, where you can go out there and take a shower. And the churches down here do a fabulous job of helping the people that need help. And sometimes the churches on Fort Myers Beach take flack for that from people who say you're enabling the homeless. And I don't even agree with that, because if they weren't getting that little bit of help they're getting from the church, they'd be breaking into restaurants. Not everybody, but there would be other ways to find food and showers and things like that. So
the other thing too, you keep focusing, I think, and you can answer this better, on the small percentage that are intractably homeless, so to speak. And I think that the chronically homeless, and there's a large group that the churches and all these agencies help that are families that are temporary home.
Okay,
I mean, I
fair
think,
enough. Fair.
I
That's
think
fair.
that's the majority,
And you
so,
don't hear about them, right?
and you don't. You're focused on the.
No, I'm
the
not
one,
focused on it.
You are
I'm not-
focused
no,
on just the few.
No, the reason I brought that up was because last week at the public safety meeting, there were some people, there was a couple of members that said that the churches are enabling the homeless people, and they're really not. They're helping. That's what they do. They help people, and you can't criticize them for that. I just don't think that's right.
Gandhi said it.
I was friends with Gandhi.
A community is judged by how they help their most vulnerable.
Right.
Something along those lines.
So she sidetracked me
you
with
off.
the Gandhi stuff. I'm trying to remember how many books I read by Gandhi.
So
did he write any
providing
books?
food to someone who is homeless is one of the oldest ministries that churches engage in.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of scripture in the Bible regarding it. And then also let me quickly mention Pine Island. I was out there a couple weeks ago. And Pine Island folks don't want to come into Fort Myers for services or anything like that. And there's just a few, I guess, food pantries that have food for people that are homeless. And the homeless population is scattered around. So when I went out there, what they were telling me at the north end, when the homeless folks couldn't get food, they've been eating out of the garbage.
Disgusting.
Is that's
not right?
Not disturbing? That kept me up all night long. So can you imagine if churches, would people rather see the homeless eating out of garbage, dumpsters by the restaurants?
We're not going to solve it today, but I did want to say, I want to get back to the beach because, we're here on the beach.
Because this is the beach.
Right. So the librarian was murdered by a homeless person who I think
that was tragic.
He had mental health issues. And so, but this town council has never addressed, other than Rexanne, she talks about the churches a lot, but this town council has never been forceful on trying to come up with some kind of solution, which probably will involve some kind of housing. I would think you want to build some kind of housing or some kind of program where everybody gets together and say, okay, we have a problem. You can't just say it's Lee County because they might be on Inland Hall using the bathroom, or they might be in this park here, Newton Park, sleeping on the picnic table. It's a community problem. It's Fort Myers Beach. Well, they were harassing Susie last week, and she was frightened out of her gourd.
And she should have been. Somebody, a person stalking you, whether or not they're homeless, is scary, right? And I spoke with John before we started the show from
the Public
Fort
Safety
Myers
Committee.
Beach Safety Council, I guess it was. And he's got some great ideas. He wants to bring everybody together to collaborate and come up with solutions. And that's exactly what we need to do.
Do we need some kind of facility on Fort Myers Beach? Is that the answer?
You may decide that.
I won't decide it because I don't get to decide anything down here.
They might decide that. Depending on, I know God's Table, Chapel by the Sea.
Yeah.
It's operated by Community Cooperative here, and they're only open 3 days a week now, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I guess they had been open 5 days a week, but when the shutdown occurred, they began having less traffic there. So they, did Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Of course, now they've seen an increase. So they as soon as they get all the volunteers vaccinated, they're going to open back up. But they offer breakfast and a bagged lunch, and used to have like Family Health Center would come out there offering medical services, and the VA come out there. So I think that's one thing we need to come out and offer some more services. There's a lot, like you said, the Board of County Commissioners, there's a lot of money coming in designated to help this population.
How many shelters are there in Lee County? Do you know? Or is that an unfair question? Sorry.
No, I know. There's not that many.
There's not that many.
There is the Salvation Army's the shelter for families. The Bob James Triage Center is the shelter for adults, male and female.
I had never heard of that until Kevin brought it up.
The Triage
the other
Center.
week.
Yeah, that's great. And then we have the Fort Myers Rescue Mission, which is a faith-based shelter for men only. They do offer food and showers for women.
3 shelters.
For the homeless population. There's also ACT for domestic violence.
Janet, do you know somebody that, and we'll let you go. Thank you so much for staying late.
Thank you. Yeah.
Do you know somebody that was actually homeless that went through the process at Lee County and is now a success story?
Yes. In
Can
fact,
you hook
there's
us up
one
with-
on the news today.
Oh.
I didn't know him
It would be great to
personally.
interview somebody how they went through that process, and now is doing
Yeah,
doing
and
great.
put a face to the
Yeah.
vast majority of homeless that come up and out.
Right. We do have somebody, and we shared the story on our website,
Okay.
which is leehomeless.org. So if you want to go on there and check that out.
Okay.
In fact, the person is standing with a law enforcement officer that had been helping them.
Very nice.
So like I said, we're,
Right.
the hot teams are working out well.
Well, Janet, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for coming
so
on,
much.
and we could have gone
Thank
on for
you.
hours and stuff, and we didn't solve anything, but we hopefully we got some information out there that people didn't know. And thank you for everything you've done, and enjoy your retirement
Yeah.
in August
Thank you.
and
It
your
was
RV
great
trip.
being
We'll
here.
have to come visit you in Franklin.
Yeah.
And we love North
Sounds
Carolina.
good.
Janet Bartos, everybody. And there's a big
Bye.
round of applause from our live studio audience. And before we get to Brian, we want to tell you about, there's even more applause, some leftover applause. See you guys. We want to tell you about some of our killer sponsors, and then we're going to have Brian come on from Shuckers, and he's going to tell us about a great event coming up next month. Of course, we need to tell you about some of our sponsors, because without them, we'd be in code enforcement jail right now. And the first sponsor we want to tell you about is Island Oils. And I brought product placements today, folks. Island Oils, LLC. You see, it's a simple little spray. You spray a little bit here, spray a little bit there. No bugs. No bugs at all. The bugs are gone. You're killing the bugs. You'll see them laying on the ground, praying for God. You see them laying on the ground, screaming for help. You killed me. You killed me. How did you do that? But I smell so good as I die. Yes, it's Island Oils, LLC, or don'titchit.com. Don'titchit.com, Island Oils, LLC. Get on the website now. Place an order. They're one of our longest sponsors, DEET-free, no water added. They are right here on the beach. And if you order online now, you'll be pretty cool. So thank you for Island Oils, LLC. And look at that. You can put it in your purse. You can put it in your man bag. Like when you're riding your bike in the morning, you got a little man bag that you put on to cover your fat pooch when you're riding the bike. And we want you to order that as soon as you can. So thank you very much to Island Oils, LLC. And now, take it away, Weefy.
One. All right, and I'm going to talk to you about Fort Myers Tiki Tours. Take a relaxing 90-minute tour around the Fort Myers Beach intercoastal area on a Hawaiian-styled tiki hut. You and 5 of your guests can sit back and relax while our captains drive you around. You can bring your food and your beverage of choice, and they will provide the cooler, the ice, and, of course, the captain. You will be treated like a star because everyone will be taking your picture because it's so cute to be out on this floating tiki tour. We've done it for Father's Day. You can do it for your birthday. You can do it for your anniversary. You can go with your coworkers, bachelorette party, go right on through. So give them a call at 239-887-0042 or visit them on the web at fortmyerstikitours.com. Now,
We're going to save that to after,
okay.
because we've been making Brian wait. So let's get back to Brian's got stuff he's got to do, everybody. So come on back to the show here, wife. And we want to thank Brian for coming in. And folks, don't forget to stay with us after Brian comes on and tells us about his killer event. We want to tell you about everything that's going on with us being inside and not outside, and our attempt to get a permit for a street performer, and the fact that code enforcement, even while we're sitting inside, is roaming around taking pictures of us even today, even though we're inside. They're taking pictures of us today. That's how Gestapo-like they are. But until we get to that, we don't want to ruin Brian's appearance. Brian Nagle, right, Brian?
Yes, Brian Nagle.
Brian from Nice and Close with the Mic is from Shuckers. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn your mic off, dear. Oh, yes, I did. So, Brian, how long have you been with Shuckers now?
Shuckers at the Gulf Shore. I've been there now. December was a year, so about 16 months. And, been quite a ride. It's such a great place to work with. And,
You know,
I love it.
As you look out the back of Shuckers, it's such an awful view that you have there of the water.
Yeah, it's awful.
That's a tough one to take in. And it's Shuckers, and then there's
Shuckers
what else?
at the Gulf Shore and Cottage Bar, and then we also have the Beach Bar. Beach Bar right down on the Gulf, toes in the sand. Our new beach cabana that we installed just over the COVID
been
closure.
There. It's nice.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
How old are you?
I am 37.
37 now.
He's got a good set of pipes.
Yeah, is that
radio voice?
Is that mousse that you have in your hair?
Yeah, a little bit of what is it?
Gel?
Gel? No, not gel, not mousse. Balm. What's the stuff called?
I don't know. I don't have a lot of need for that.
Yeah.
So you, because it's perfect hair. You have the perfect hair there,
thank
and
you. I
so
appreciate that.
how do you get the red beard though? It doesn't look like you have red hair.
That's just all the men in my family.
All have red hair.
A recessive gene, so
gotta keep that
red
going.
Beard. Yeah.
What about the genes?
It's a recessive gene. That's
I'll Google that
genetic.
later. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So what?
How do you not know that?
I don't know. I've never heard that before. So enough, dear.
Okay.
Let's stick to Brian. Brian, now you guys are doing a super special event in May. So you invited us to come down and do a show, but after today, you might rescind that invitation.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
The way she's treating you.
Yeah, not a problem. Not a problem at all. I really appreciate you guys having us and giving us this platform just to continue to get the word out for us. At May 8th, 1921 was our first day of business as the Crescent Beach Casino. And in honor of that fact, our centennial celebration, same owners for 50 years, but the structure, we've been serving the public for 100 years now.
Wow.
And in honor of the Crescent Beach Casino, the Fort Myers Beach Elementary has been unable to do so much of their fundraising this past year with COVID. And we just figured this is the perfect platform to really do something nice, give back to the community. And we are hosting a casino night fundraiser for Fort Myers Beach Elementary, and it's just going to be a fun party, a really fun end of season party. A lot of business. We've had some great sponsorship so far, and just a great way to bring the community together for our teachers, for our students, and we want to raise a lot of money for them.
And it's a 1920s theme.
Yeah, 1920s themed, flapper gangsters,
boy.
Again, that whole Roaring 20s Crescent Beach Casino. We're going to have 18 different gaming tables, a red carpet entry with a step and repeat, the flapper gangster, like a speakeasy entrance where you got to knock on the door for the people. So it's going to be a really fun event. Everybody can get dressed up, come together, and party for a good cause.
So you're going to have like roulette,
10-foot roulette table, 10-foot craps tables, blackjack tables, Texas Hold'em. We'll have slot machine tables on our bar, a wheel that you can spin too. We'll be doing 50-50 raffles. We got T-shirts made, the step and repeat, different banners with all the sponsorship all over. You can still sponsor a table if you wanted to, and it's just no better reason to do it. Adult beverages,
specials.
There'll be a lot of drink specials, free hors d'oeuvres. U.S. Foods, thankfully, donated quite a bit of food for us. So some free hors d'oeuvres, some drink specials. Our liquor companies are coming and do some spends, and they'll be handing out some drinks also. Just again, a really good way for the community to come together.
You keep saying step and repeat. What does that mean?
The step and repeat, just like the red carpet with the wall behind it, all the sponsorships on there. Yeah, and just really set up the entrance and
so you can get your picture
get your picture taken, different props. Yeah, it's gonna be really cool.
So how does it work? Because gambling's illegal, right?
Well, so you get the funny money is what they actually call it.
Okay, so is it a donation?
Yeah, it's a donation. So you come, you donate your money, you get the funny money, you gamble with that, and when you go ahead and cash out, we got prizes from gift baskets to all different kinds of stuff that you can win. Trips, 2-night stays on the beach, so a lot of cool stuff, all the way to other businesses like Beach Boys donated preventative maintenance for a year for us for AC and refrigeration. So all different kinds of stuff. Everybody's involved.
How much do people buy tickets?
Well, we're doing a $5 cover at the door.
Okay.
But besides that, it's open seating. Come as you are, and just open to everybody.
So $5 to get in.
Yep.
And then
you buy whatever funny money that you want. Yeah.
All right. And drinks and food and that
drinks
kind of
and
stuff.
food. Yes.
Where are you guys setting up all the tables?
So actually, our entire dining room, the Shuckers dining room, and all around the Shuckers bar area, where that space right there can fit about 150 people, the capacity. So all those tables, we're removing our tables and bring all the tables in. We'll actually close Shuckers about 1:30. The beach bar and cottage will still be open.
Okay.
And then we'll completely flip the restaurant and rebrand ourselves as a Crescent Beach Casino for a night.
And that's going to run from 7 to 10:30.
Yeah, 7 to 10:30 with gaming starting at 7:30.
On
And
May,
people don't need to leave it. I mean, they could go.
Yeah, just the
that
gaming
part.
itself ends then.
May,
Yes.
May the 8th. May the 8th. So
May the 8th,
park.
yep.
May the 8th,
You
yes.
don't have a ton of parking, but you have some. So
Yeah, we do have some parking, but besides that, yeah, you're gonna just have to find. a
yeah,
spot,
and
really.
it's not too far to
That's the
walk if you
beach.
park in, even
Right.
if you park here in Lynn Hall Park or under the bridge. Not that
Take
not
the
that far.
trolley,
Yeah.
the little shuttle.
No, I don't
thing
think you
down.
can take the trolley. I don't think you can.
Not the trolley, but the.
You can walk. It's
the
not that
little
far.
shuttle.
It's
Well,
like
it
it's not
depends
even
on
half.
where you-
It's pretty close.
Pretty
Yeah.
close.
What are you against
But
exercise
if
all of a
you're
sudden?
like
for crying
no,
out
but
loud?
if you've got fancy shoes on,
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you might have to have your
Yeah.
other half drop you off. I didn't think of that. Are you,
Valet also. We'll have valet in the
Okay.
parking lot. We fit quite a few cars in there still too.
how? What if somebody doesn't get dressed up? You don't want to open the
Oh, no,
door.
everybody's welcome. You don't have to get
Oh.
dressed up. If you want to, great. If not, no big deal. Yeah.
What are you
come.
going to be dressed as?
Yeah, I'll be dressed as a gangster, pinstripe suit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What will the ladies get dressed as? What is
gotta
it?
wear
They call
those
them flappers.
flappers.
The flapper dresses.
those
Flapper
dresses,
dresses.
with the, and then you shake
The
and it goes.
cigarette with the stick
la, la, la,
on
la.
there. Yeah.
I have to Google that later too. I don't
And
know
the
what a
special little
flapper
hats
thing is.
And the little
Yeah.
pin up
I think-
Gatsby, that whole kind
Okay,
of style.
I think people
Yeah.
people on the beach love to dress up like that. I
Oh
mean,
yeah. I mean,
They-
Shuckers in the cottage. We in the past, not since I've been there, but in the past, we've had a lot of great Halloween parties, different Mardi Gras parties, people getting dressed up, and we just want to restart that.
What a
again.
great idea!
Yeah,
And do you know Jonna Kirk Sonner?
Oh yeah, I know
She
John
says
Sonner.
she says you're doing a great job today.
Oh, thanks, Jay.
Does
I
she work
appreciate
for you,
that.
or
Yeah,
is that a-
she works for me, a part of my team down there, and we just have the best team, the best management team that I have ever worked with. We have had a record-breaking year for us.
Nice. We've
still
heard that a
getting
lot.
Beat up, yeah, still getting beat up, and but in the best way possible.
You know,
It's really great.
I'm
We
tar-
were actually just in USA Today as one of 10
Stop.
favorite restaurants in the entire state of Florida.
Wow.
And that went nationwide with the Associated Press. So something
didn't
that
see
we're really
that.
proud of. A pretty great accolade that
Wow.
we're very proud
Did
of.
they give you like a plaque? That's
well,
plaque worthy.
Yeah, that's plaque worthy. It just
For
came
sure.
out last week. So waiting on our plaque, but it's
Was
coming.
somebody from the USA Today eating there or something? Or
No, it was an Associated Press article that started with the news press, Gina Birch, and got picked up by the USA Today, which then went in the Herald Tribune, Palm Beach paper, all over the country.
Wow, that's
something-
pretty
something
cool.
that, yeah, out of all the restaurants in our area, all the restaurants in the state of Florida, to be one of 10 favorite and
Yeah.
and spread out over the nation, that's pretty awesome.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
so
We've
we're
done
really
a couple
proud
of
of
shows from your location over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just with the camera looking out at the water, it's people would rather just see.
Oh, you can't beat
It's
it.
Yeah.
You
you
can't beat it.
you.
You really can't.
Do you guys have a
Can't hard to have a
webcam
bad
over
day.
there?
We do have a webcam over there, and hopefully we get attached to your website too, right?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
be
Yeah.
nice.
Has that ugly building next to you fallen down yet? I mean, or it's gonna fall down someday, but
we just
that's a
aim
whole
our
different.
chairs
Yeah, okay,
a certain
good.
direction, and
Right.
we leave it at that.
So, do you guys think you're going to be busy like all summer?
I do. I believe we're going to be busy all summer. COVID plays a part in that. A lot of the changes that we've made to the restaurant as a team is going to play a part in that. And I guess international travel still is kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
But people can't go out of the country. Hopefully, we get a decent influx down here still.
What's the COVID protocol?
COVID protocol is still mask on for employees. But besides that, I mean, we're lucky that we have so much outdoor space, so much open
Right.
air seating that we really haven't had many issues at all as far as COVID is concerned. And if you want to go out, have a good time, we provide about the safest place you could possibly have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else about the event you want to make sure we know about?
Not exactly about the event, but just that we do. We have a lot of great things, a lot of great partnerships. We partner with the Fort Myers Beach Art Association. We have their art hanging on our wall. We've partnered with Heart Space Yoga Collective. We do beach yoga every Sunday. We support our gig workers, live music 7 nights a week, and even during the day downstairs at the beach bar. And it's just a great place, the best place to party on the beach, without a doubt.
And the what time is the yoga? I saw
Yoga on Sundays at 9:30 with Heart Space Yoga Collective, followed by a free mimosa, complimentary mimosa, and a mindful yoga inspired special menu with some healthy options on there.
Got it.
You
Yoga?
said a free or 3?
Complimentary mimosa.
Wow.
And then you can purchase as many as you like after
I
that.
thought
They're
you said
bottomless.
3. I was
Yeah.
like, that's a lot.
Yeah, I've
after.
seen them out there yogaing. Do you
Oh,
do you
yeah.
yoga
Yoga
with
Oh
them?
yeah, I do.
Do you get the
I really
spandex
do.
pants on and the whole thing,
Yeah,
or
spandex pants. I pull my
Nice.
socks up real high. Yeah,
I
downward
still
dog,
have
all of
those. I still have those. What do you call those super thick wool socks that you
it.
pull
Yeah,
up
the
up to your
wigwams.
over your
Yes.
ankles?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that looks cute on me when I wear those
No.
around the house after
No.
a few rum and cokes, or never mind. We'll leave our personal life out of it.
No, but we're more than just a restaurant. We have something for every demographic. Our live music at the cottage at night, the best beach party at our beach bar during the day, and world class dining upstairs at Chuckers. And we got a new chef, Dennis Wedding, who's really going to bring a lot to the table.
Nice.
And I'm just really excited for the future and what we have coming.
When you say demographic, where are you from?
I'm from New Jersey originally. Point
Ah,
Pleasant,
New Jersey.
Jersey
Gotcha.
Shore.
We're all
Yeah.
from the same part of the
Sure.
country. Yeah. All right. Any more questions for
Nope.
Brian? So
I think
Brian,
we're
we're
good.
going to come down and see you after the show because
Yeah.
we're going to be broadcasting live for a couple hours during the event, and that's going to be super cool. What are we going to get dressed up as? I guess I'm
We
going to
gotta-
have to
I
be
gotta
Al
get
Capone,
some.
right? Because that's the
There you
way
go.
I'm looked at down here. Is
They're coming for you.
yeah. All right, everybody.
You in a suit.
Brian
I
Nagle
appreciate
from
it. Thank you
Chuckers.
so
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Brian.
for hanging in
appreciate it.
there.
Oh, absolutely.
Waiting.
Not a problem.
You
What a
should
great
loosen
cause.
up a
You can't
little
beat
bit.
it.
I know,
You should
right?
loosen up a little bit. All
You
right,
should work
everybody.
on that voice.
Yeah.
I mean, geez.
Go
you know?
down and see Brian.
you
and,
so
and
much.
we hope to see you all down at the event on May the 8th because that's going to be tons of fun. Before we get to our final segments, our final 2 segments, of course, we want to tell you about Vietnam. You know, I'm reading a book about Vietnam. It's called Find, Kill, Vanish, or Kill, Vanish, something like that. And
Sounds like Eat, Pray, Love.
it started with the CIA. I'm all into the CIA books, and you know, it all started in Vietnam. Not the greatest memory for the USA, but anyway, Vietnam apparently makes these great pots.
Yep.
And the only way you're going to get your eyes on the great pots is by going to Beach Pottery, another one of our killer sponsors. Beach Pottery is located on San Carlos Boulevard. You can see them on the right-hand side when you make that turn at is it a 7-Eleven? Yeah, it's a 7-Eleven. And you head toward the beach and you start to see the lovely water and clouds and
Oh, boy.
the bridge and that ugly building next to Shuckers.
Yeah, and it looks like it's small from the front, but they have like a pie-shaped lot. So when you go through the building and you go into the back, it opens up and there is an enormous array of beautiful pots, and they have furniture, and they have the wood carving, and they
Look
have
at you ad-libbing. Very nice.
Well, they have a lot of stuff going on.
Here's
there.
the thing you shouldn't do. When you drive by and you see all the pots in the front yard, you should not say, I wonder if that's the place that Ed and Kim were talking about on their show. Because that's Peach Pottery. I mean, how many places are going to have all those pots
Yep.
and pans and
And I
things
like
out
that
in
you
the front?
it's very colorful, very colorful. I forget the name that he said because we had them on and they talked about it. And you can get pots with your name on them, like custom pots made.
Talk about the
So-
chainsaw massacre in the back there.
There's a sweet gentleman back there with a chainsaw that does these amazing carvings.
Talk about
and
an
then
artist.
they paint them there. He does all sorts of stuff. What I saw was animals like a manatee, a pelican.
Can you imagine have the kind of talent where you can carve wood into a manatee? I mean,
with a chainsaw.
where do you go to school for something like that? How do you learn
I
how to
think
do
it's
that?
just a gift and a
No
talent.
kidding.
It's a
No
God-given
kidding.
gift of talent.
And so if you want to call them and ask them about the chainsaw guy or the pots and pans from, I don't think they have pans. I don't want
No.
every time I say pots, I want to say pans.
no.
Pots from Vietnam.
Like
You want-
planters.
Right. You want to call 437-4. Yeah, not like
And the fr-
pots
and
that
the-
you put on the
And
stove.
the outdoor furniture,
Outdoor furniture.
which that stuff they have lasts forever.
437-4211. That's 437-4211 Beach Pottery. And thank you to Alana and Kurt for hanging out there with us. We appreciate it very much. So you have some things you want to read before we get to our final segment. Folks, what we've been doing is asking you for your support. If you think we bring you value, you send us a little bit of value back, and then we keep working our butts off to cover the local news and to bring you these great guests like Janet. Janet had some great information about homeless facilities and watching the county meetings and watching the town meetings and broadcasting the town meetings and all those meetings. We appreciate your sending the love back. And right now, the wifey poo is going to read a little bit of that.
So, yes, a big thank you to everyone who's contributed to the show in the last week. And many before that, many weeks before that. We wouldn't be able to do the show without all of your kindness, and we wanted to read some of the names to personally thank some of those folks. So, I don't know. I thought they were coming down, but Andy and Mike Clemens from right here on Fort Myers Beach, thank you guys so much. Kathy Adams contributed to the show and said, in quotes, "Love your show and your hats." Robert Stern was checking in from Staten Island, and he gave us a little long distance love. Ed wrote this stuff.
I wrote it, so I'm trying to help you out here. And look at how big the letters are, too, just
right?
so you don't screw it up, which you already did.
Oh, I really like that. Monica Fryer, and I'll apologize in advance if I mispronounce your name, from Fort Myers, donated and received her Beach Talk Radio hat just like this.
Yeah.
Diane Fletcher from Fort Myers Beach, who said she loved the show and all the topics that we cover. Elizabeth Arnold checked in from Columbus, Ohio, so thank you, Elizabeth. Susie Thiebold from right here on Fort Myers Beach. Susan says, Susie, I'm sorry, it says Susan. I have 3 friends that are Susie, so sorry. Susan says, love all that we do, and she will proudly wear the hat.
Thank you all to everybody. Oh, you got more.
I know.
All right.
So many. Dustin Schmucker from Fort Myers Beach. Helen Gustafson. From
Wisconsin.
Blanchardville, Wisconsin.
Nice.
And if you would like to support the show, go to supportbtr.com.
I think next week I'll read the names because you sound like a robot. You got to ad-lib the names. And last week we gave everybody a hat. We mailed them a hat. So thank you.
I do better. I have a good capacity. Unlike you, I have a good memory. So I do better if I just memorize it and go from there.
And the way you can, did you read out? People can go to supportbtr.com. Okay, there you go.
You have no memory. Literally, I said it 2 seconds
I will agree
ago.
with that. Yes. All right. And our final segment today, we want to give everybody an update on what? What are you doing? On what's going on, why we're inside, what the plan is, so that you all know, because we feel like we should be outside. We feel like it's better for the people that come to the beach, that watch from home. They like to see the beach. They like to see people walking by. And so what happened the last 2 weeks was we went outside. I'm trying to get the town to tell us what the violation, to tell us what we're doing wrong. So I went out 2 weeks ago.
And how we can
make it right, fix it. So we sat in a spot that was the town spot. It was the town space. We purposely sat in town space because we wanted the violation. We wanted the warning, whatever it was going to be. So we could say, okay, this is what they're telling me we are or we're not. What happened was they just came to the conclusion. They didn't even come down here. They took a picture off our Facebook page and they gave Jason and Jacinta a warning and said, you're not allowed to do this. So last week we came back here. We had Byron Donalds on. We sat at table 23. John got a warning. So I don't even know if you knew this, but what happened during the week was the town went to every single business in Times Square with a warning, with the documents that say you're only allowed to serve food at the tables. You're not, and they do a wink and say, you know what this is about. So really, they're completely 100% targeting us. They want to make sure that nobody else is allowed to do it. They want us inside. And folks, just so you know, it's 100, in my opinion, it's 100% political retaliation. That's what it is. I said something. She never says anything. I said something about a council member who I was watching the public meeting, and Joanne Champ, I'm going through it, dear. I'm going through it. Joanne Champ started to cry about something. And either I said it on the show that she was that you shouldn't cry when you're a leader. Leaders don't cry. And so it was just my opinion. So what happened was Joanne called Roger. Roger found the ordinance. And this is how they're going after the businesses. They're not really coming after us. They're threatening the businesses. That's what they do. That's what code enforcement does. They've been taking pictures of us this morning. We're inside. The code enforcement guy is walking up and down Times Square. they're taking, he was right here, they're right there, they're taking pictures of us this morning. That's how apeshits they are over what we're doing, and it's 100% political retaliation.
I would just like to say, we always order food. We're always
Right.
eating when we're here.
Okay, so let's talk about, we feel like we were sitting at table 23. We're paying customers, happen to have conversations with people from the community. What some of you might not know is for the first 2 years of the show, from 2018 to 2020, every one of those people on the council came on the show and sat at that table. And the town manager came on the show and sat at that table. Every single one of them came on the show. Nobody said, hey, Ed, you're doing something wrong. You can't, by the way, you need to go inside. 2 years. So fast forward to last year when they sent me something in the mail saying you can't operate a business out there. We're not operating a business out there. We don't ask for anybody to give us money. We're not selling anything out there. We do read the ads. So I'm guessing that's what they tell us, we're operating a business. So we came inside, season, COVID, the whole thing. So now we want to go outside. So what happened was I heard that the bongo player down on the other end here was playing the bongos, but he had no talent.
Who is has a permit as a street performer.
We're talking about, I don't say he has no talent, but apparently according to the folks that have restaurants down there, Killwins or whoever is down there, maybe it's Plaka, the guy was just playing the bongo. Like he was playing the bongo, just hitting it. And so the customers were like, crap, I'm not sitting here. This is annoying. So he got his street performer's permit revoked. And so I'm thinking, street performer, that's a good idea. So I know there's at least 2 open street performer spots. We applied for a street performer's permit to go through the rules. So there really is no reason for them to deny us a street performer's permit. We had been performing for 2 years. There's some history down here.
Are you going to juggle now?
Well, I mean, the mayor thinks I'm a clown to begin with, so I think I'm a shoo-in right there. So we apply for the street performer's permit. We have letters from John, of course, from Jason and Jacinta, from La Ola, all in support, from Terry Prasad, that we bring business, we bring some kind of excitement to Times Square. We don't violate the noise ordinance. We don't violate the sign ordinance. We're not. Now, remember at the beginning of the show, it was time, place, manner. That's the argument for the First Amendment. That's the only argument you have for the First Amendment. Time, place, manner. In other words, you can't do something at 2:00 in the morning when they're not open because, that doesn't make any sense. They can get you on that. The place would be, are you obstructing a business? Are you obstructing people that are walking? We would be doing none of that. The manner thing, I haven't really figured out how they get people on the manner thing, but those are really the only 3 things that stand up in court as far as the First Amendment goes.
But you are not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer, but believe me, I've asked about the First Amendment because when it comes to the courts, the First Amendment is one thing they really stand up for. I mean, I'm not saying they don't stand up for the other ones, but if you read case law about the First Amendment, there's a lot of, I mean, with the homeless even, the homeless have a First Amendment right to be where they are, to say what they say, and perhaps to ask money in the median. So that's what the time, place, manner thing is. So we applied for the street performer permit, and we're just waiting for an answer. Because what will happen, in my opinion, is they will deny it, which they will give you a reason or not give you a reason. The town manager can decide one way or another. And I want to talk about that in a second. If they deny it, I know I told you the story was going to be long.
No, my back is getting tired.
Right. So then your next option is you go to the town council and you plead your case. You can I guess, what do you call it? When it's denied, you have a chance to appeal it to the town council, and we'll see how it goes from there. But the thing with the street performers thing is that I don't even think the town has a right to say you can only have, if you want to talk about a public square, this is as public square as you get. I mean, you don't really see many of these anymore where this is really a square. I don't even think they can limit the number of street performers. And here's why. Let's say you give out 10 street performer permits. Let's say a guy moves down from somewhere and his job is a street performer. He plays the violin. He just happens to be a young black male. Okay. So he becomes the 11th person. He's going to go out there and set up and he's going to play the violin. And one of these code clowns is going to go over there and say, "Where's your permit?" And he's going to say, "I don't have a permit. This is a public square. It's my First Amendment right." Again, reading up from different communities, street performers do have a lot of rights. Surprisingly, I'm just telling you what I read. They're going to tell him to get out and face what they face. Let me just finish this, and then I'll let you go. Then you have the religious guy that everybody hates, Adam LaCroix, who's already sued the Lee County for trying to get him on trespass and won $40,000. Now he's suing the town for code violations with Bill Stout, and Bill Stout's in the lawsuit and everything. And you also have a street performer who does have a felony on his record. And I'm not going to say who it is because everybody loves the guy, and it was the right thing to do to give him the permit. So what is going to be the argument to keep us out of the square? Now you're free.
I don't know what the argument's going to be, but the point I was going to make is there does have to be a limiting number, because you have to have enough room for people to actually go through the area. So you would have to limit the number of people that you're issuing.
I'm just saying.
You're allowed. I mean, you can't have it lined.
Who are you going to tell?
Wall.
Who are you going to tell is the one that has to go?
You. That's who's the one they're going to tell.
Well, they are doing that. There's no doubt that's what they're trying to do. But what is the argument? Like, here's the other thing: the street performers, even in the town's ordinance, are allowed to ask for money. They're allowed to have a receptacle where people give them
donations.
Tips. Right. We're not even doing
Tips.
We're not violating the sound ordinance. We're not asking for money. We could do it without a sign. You don't even need a sign. So we don't need power. And we're there for 1 hour a week. 1 hour a week. So what the town is doing right now, what Roger is doing right now, is they are so going after the businesses. They've warned every business, and then they look them in the eye and they go, "You know who this is about, right? You know who this is about." And it has everything to do with political retaliation. It has. If we just walked in tomorrow and they didn't know who we were and asked for a street performer's permit, would they say no?
I don't know. Right. Has anyone else applied and been denied? I guess would be the question.
I don't know, but who gets to decide who's a street performer? That it's such a vague thing. The town manager gets to decide who the street performer is.
He gets to decide who gets the permit for it. I mean, I don't think he gets to decide who.
Clearly, he thought the bongo guy was a street performer, and he was just standing there hitting the bongo to the point where people were complaining about it. Nobody here.
That's a matter of taste.
It's all subjective.
Right.
Right. They can say we have no talent, but that doesn't mean that people in the square don't think we have talent.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. If people start throwing tomatoes at us, then we'll know.
Well, all I'm saying is our goal with the show has always been to bring people to the beach. It's always been to draw attention to Times Square. It's always been to try and figure out why people don't come to Fort Myers Beach off season, and to try and work with people to get people to come down here. And so what's the objection? Well, obviously the objection is, they don't agree with what we say, and that's not something they're allowed to do.
All right.
So, all right, anybody, thanks. If you were listening, thank you. If you were not listening, thank you. We'll keep you up to date on what's going on. We've been told by the town it's being reviewed. First, we were told it'll be considered in the order it came in. And I said, order it came in? There's no order. I know it's the only one. So just let us know. We had a stack of letters from all you people. And that was awesome.
Yes.
I was crying.
That was I'm not going to say it. That was very humbling.
Yes. Part of
that was so nice.
Part of makes the fight with the town worth it is the letters that you get like that. It makes it seem like, okay, what we're doing is, and the goal is not to bash town hall. It's to cover town hall. And sometimes you disagree with town hall and they don't like it. And that's where we are now. But what I'm saying is those letters make it seem like it's keep going and you're doing the right thing. And thank you very much.
That was very, and it takes a lot. People will write a negative review very quickly. You're right. Fired up, you write off. But for people to take the time to craft some of those, all of those letters we appreciate, but some of them really went into some depth and detail, and it was very much appreciated.
And the top letter was from Anita Saracita, the former mayor of the town, and she owns 2 businesses here. She owns 3 businesses on the island. She wrote the first letter. I mean, what more?
Appreciate that, but we appreciate all of them.
All right, everybody, we got to go do the lawn. We got to go. See you next week.
Bye.